What is going on, guys? I hope everybody's doing well. Today we're going to do a little bit of a different video. I'm actually going to be doing something I don't plan on doing a lot, which is an unboxing of something completely non-skydive related. Well, it's kind of skydiving related because I'm going to use it for skydiving, but it's not directly related. It's actually a camera. It's a Canon, as you guys can see over here. A Canon M6 Mark II, because I'm mad rich from all the YouTube money I've been making. I finally was able to buy this extremely expensive camera with all my YouTube money. So this camera is going to replace my old camera flying machine, which is the Canon 100D. I think it's called the SL1 for you American folks. This camera has been great. It's been doing its job, which is to take pictures, but if you guys have seen my previous videos related to camera flying and how to pick a correct camera, you guys probably know that this isn't ideal because, well, first of all, it's a DSLR, meaning it has a mirror mechanism for me to use an optical viewfinder. And for skydiving, we don't need an optical viewfinder. We don't need any viewfinder at all because we're just going to be framing our pictures through the sight. So there is no need to carry this extra weight that's just cumbersome on our heads. Second of all, this camera is actually quite old. It's from 2013, so since it's an entry-level camera, it's not going to have super high quality, and the fact that it's from 2013 doesn't quite help because, you know, it's getting older. But the 20 megapixel, I think it's 18 megapixel sensor does a very good job, and I can't have any complaints about it. But I think it's time for an upgrade. A good thing about this camera is that at the time it was released, it was the smallest DSLR in the market. So that's kind of what caught my eye about it. The current cameras, the 250D and the 200D, are the ones replacing this camera, and they're still the smallest DSLRs you can find. So that's why I bought this camera at the time. But all these things I was talking about, the mirror mechanism and the added size because of it, really are putting me out. So I waited for a camera to come out that was able to replace this camera. So another thing this camera doesn't do too good is the fact that it doesn't do very fast bursts. It's like 3 FPS continuous shooting, and after the first 2 seconds it doesn't do 4 FPS, it does like 1 picture a second, so it's really slow. And even though these newer cameras, they still don't do like 11 frames per second continuously unless it's super expensive camera, they do a little bit faster shooting. So that means instead of in one free fall jump I get about 60 pictures, 70 pictures, I can get double that. I can get about 140 pictures, meaning I can have way more still images to work with. And if I'm doing a really important fun jump or something with a lot of people, I can take raw files because this camera has more processing power and takes UHS-2 cards, which are way faster than the old school cards this camera cards this camera takes. So it's a real upgrade from all from all aspects that you look at it. So let's just open this and get done with it. So it's a normal Canon packaging. I'm not an unboxer from YouTube. I'm just going to show you what's in the box and show you a little bit how I would set up the camera for me. So no one needs this. Manual's in a warranty, I think. I don't need it. Neither will you. Just go online and look for the questions you have. And what you have in the box is always the same. You're gonna have your charger. You guys know this. Charger. Americans, you're gonna have like a little pull-out thing. I have that for my M50, which is you're seeing me right now on. It's my Canon M50 because I bought it in the USA. But us Europeans actually have a way better system, in my opinion, which is, again, here, our wall adapter. So it's a way better system because you don't need to plug the little brick onto the wall directly. You can just set it on a table. So yeah, that's why Europeans are the best. I like that Canon uses this system because it means you can have one battery charging and the other one on the camera, and that's what I run. I run like 4 batteries usually. That's perfect for us camera flyers. Again, Canon wins. Sony also does that, but Sony doesn't bring the wall adapter, I think. Maybe it does. Correct me if I'm wrong. Here's something no one uses. Why am I opening this? I don't need it. This is like a neck strap. Even if you're taking pictures, if you're carrying around a $800 camera, I don't know how much it costs in America. It's like 800. I paid like, I think at $800 for it in euros, 680 euros. If you're carrying around like 800 euros of cameras plus another 200, 300, 400 euros in lenses, are you gonna take it in this little strap? No, invest in a proper strap if you're gonna invest 1,000 plus euros on a camera. And of course, oh wait, one more thing, the battery, very important. Just gonna put all the plastics back. Here's the battery. Again, if you guys are camera flyers, which you probably are, first thing I would tell you to actually do is buy a spare batteries. And a little trick I'll teach you is if it has the arrow, as you can see here, let's see if the camera focuses. Yeah, if it has the arrow, it means it's charged, and if you flip it upside down and it doesn't have an arrow, it means it's not charged. This is just a little trick I use to always know if the camera is charged or not. And I actually have two little slots on my camera case where I put the non-charged and the charged batteries. It's just easier if you're running, gunning, if like you're doing a backup and you need to find a charged battery fast. It's an easy way to go, and you can change it on the plane. So of course, the piece of amazing machinery itself that we're looking for is the camera itself here, the Canon M6 Mark II. We're gonna get to the details of the camera in a little bit, but for now, you know, keep the box, you know, don't put it on the trash. That's foolish in these days. We have so many warranties, and for resale, the resale value without the box and all the little things just goes down so much. Just, you know, keep it somewhere, give it to your mother, she'll keep it in her house. So I'm just gonna put this away somewhere. So again, this is my first time looking at this camera, and what I can tell from you guys, what I can tell you guys is it feels really similar to the M50. It's not the same, definitely, but it's really similar. Definitely closer to the M50 than like a standard DSLR or the 100D, but it's definitely different, you know. Let's talk a little bit about the characteristics and why I chose this camera in specific. So when I was in the USA, in Florida, in 2019, September 2019, I was looking to buy a new camera because, of course, to replace my 100D, but mainly to do my ground video for my for the canopy piloting students, and to do a little bit of hobby photography, photography of people landing and all that. And I was gonna buy the FDR what was it called? AX, yeah, Sony FDR AX53, which is their 4K camcorder, but I really like the interchangeable lens setup that modern cameras, mirrorless cameras have. So, you know, because of my photography background, I just prefer to buy, like, you know, the M50. At the time, it was one of the best cameras for a budget. So I decided to buy that camera. I've been looking to buy it for about 1 year at the time. I think it was out for a year, and I wanted to buy it for a long time. So when I was in America and I saw a deal, I decided to buy it, and saving on tax and all of that, because we can get tax back on the airport. I think we did something like that. It really was cheap, so brought the camera back, and it's kind of bad because I can't really sell it too well, because of the charger. I did an adapter myself with the little cable, but you know, it's still an amazing camera. The thing is, you don't have anywhere to plug a bite switch, a tongue switch, a blow switch, anything. You don't have that capability on the M50. So that little small insignificant detail was actually a deterrent for me to use the M50. I ended up using the Canon M50 with a speed booster to do a little bit of TV production at the time, and I even used sometimes the original lens, which is really sharp. It's really good, the kit lens, the 15-45. Because it has the image stabilization to do video, and I've done a couple of videos with the M50, and I can tell you guys it does really good video. The GoPros have such a good color that it's really not worth it anymore to have a dedicated video camera. Of course, we talk a little bit more. We will talk a little bit more about that in a video related to camcorders, but for now that's all I have to say. Because of the fact that the Canon M50 didn't have the possibility to do remote pictures with a cable connected, it was a deterrent for me to use it. So when I saw that the M6 had the switch, I was thinking about it. But then 1 month after I was in America, in October of 2019, I think, I was in America in I was in the USA in June, and this camera came out in July. So I bought the M50 in June, and in July the M6 came out, and of course I knew it was the M6 replacement, so it still had the, as you can see here, super important, the remote switch, the little 2.5mm jack for the remote switch. Let's see if the camera focuses. Yeah, here it is. And this really is what's making me want to purchase this camera. So this little detail sold me the camera, and I was looking to buy it for a long time. Eventually I saved up the money and purchased it. So here it is now, and let me talk to you guys a little bit more about why I decided to buy this camera. So first of all, the sensor. My Canon M50 has a 24 megapixel sensor. The 100D has a 18 megapixel sensor. This camera comes with a 32.5 megapixel APS-C size sensor. That is a huge number of megapixels for such a small sensor. If you have a full frame camera, that's gonna be like portrait level pixels. And because this isn't a full frame camera, this is crop sensor, it's a huge amount of pixels for this camera. So because of that, I thought, well, we have such good lighting in skydiving, so we're never gonna have problems with too much noise because of small light sensitivity, or because of the small pixels and low light sensitivity. So we're not gonna have that problem. And you know, any extra little detail you can get from a picture in skydiving, if you're too far away, you can crop it in a little bit. It's always gonna be good. The only little deterrent, if you guys are thinking about getting super high megapixel cameras, is the lenses. The more detail a camera has on the sensor, the more sharp your lens has to be. So there's no point in buying a Sony A7R IV with a 64 or 62 megapixels or whatever it has, and then you don't have a sharp lens. You just use like a kit lens. No, you're not gonna have sharp images. With this, if I take a picture with a crappy lens and I crop it in, the picture is gonna be blurry and not sharp. So sharp lenses are very important in front of these types of very sensitive, like small high pixel count sensors. So yeah, the pixel density on this one really took the key, really drove this camera home when it came to me deciding it. The difference between 18 and the 32 is quite big, but if you actually look at a square with an area of 24 megapixels and the area of 33, it's not that different. So the Canon M50 and the Canon M6 really, it's edge on edge. They're tied up in terms of megapixels. You're not really getting that much extra image quality. But there are a couple more things that made me choose the M6. The other thing is the fact that it doesn't have any sort of viewfinder whatsoever. Some people, when the M6 came out, were complaining because this was the flagship mirrorless cropped sensor model, and it didn't have a viewfinder, or a built-in viewfinder, at least, like the Canon M50. And for a lot of people, that was a big deterrent from buying this camera, especially for street photography, where you kind of have to frame the picture real quick, or for maybe sports, where doing sports photography with a camera holding it out isn't really that useful. So it kind of took people away from this camera. They do offer a external viewfinder that you can purchase, or you can buy it with the kit, but I don't want to, because the lighter the camera and the smaller the camera is, the best it is for me. I can do head down now with this camera. I can do any free fly position I want. I could do it with my small DSLR, but and I know guys that do crazy camera setups on their heads, but for me, I just want to jump my Petra and open with the smallest camera possible on my head. And if I can get a super small and super powerful sensor and processor, that's going to be a win-win for me. And that's exactly what I did. That's exactly what this camera does. Now, third little thing that made me want this camera is the burst modes. I mean, this camera takes incredible bursts. We're talking like 14 FPS, depending on the mode you have it on, 11 FPS for 2 seconds. So it means that it has a big buffer. For those 11 FPSs, we're not going to be using 11 frames in 1 second when we're skydiving. We want to put it on low drive mode. It's going to be continuous, but low drive, and take steady 3-4 frames per second throughout the whole jump. This camera does it, and it does it amazingly. So another little thing that might make me want it is the fact that it has custom function on the dial, which means I can have a custom function set for a sunny day and for a sunset load, so that in the beginning of the day I can set the custom function and I can set the other custom function, and when I'm in the plane riding up to altitude, in the end of the day, I'm not going to be messing around with the settings. For instance, in a day where you're jumping with a lot of clouds and you're on top of the clouds, you have a lot of sun, you have the sun reflecting off the clouds, and you have an amazing image. When you land, you're going to have a real overcast day. So you can have custom setting 1 for free fall and custom setting 2 for the landing and the pictures after the landing. Really useful for us camera flyers that do a lot of different situation shooting. It's just good to have the 2 custom functions. So yeah, that's another win for this camera. Something that's not really useful, but the camera does have, is a lot of dials. It has a dial here on the top near the shutter button. It has a dial behind the shutter button. It has a dial here on the selector. So, we don't use them, but they're still here. If you're a photographer on the side too, you have the 3 dials. That's amazing. It's what professional level cameras have. So I love this. Another thing that's really good about this camera is the 4K. No crop on the 4K, which means slap on a 20mm, a 16mm, or 10mm lens. You're good to go. No crop on that 4K. You're gonna get amazing 30 frames per second video. For those angle cams, free flight cams, where you want to do a super video to put on a big TV in the end of the day. This is gonna be it. Small and compact, that's why I bought it. So I'm gonna do a little bit of a video of me assembling it, and yeah, we'll be right back. One more little detail is this is not by any means a review of the camera. The camera has 1,000 more features that I'm not showing you guys, like this flash, I guess. So if you want to have like a super in-depth review, just go online. There's so many good photographers doing reviews of this camera. It's really no point in me talking about the crazy little details it has. So let's see you in a while.